Mobility, flow, and balance, grab your chair. Your body is going to be so happy today, responsive to everything that we're doing. I will scale your workout and give you lots of options in the event you've got any parts that are kicking off. We're going to start with our chair to get into our modified downward dog. Push. Just feel yourself connect feet to the floor, spread the feet comfortably wide. Give the arms that nice push against your chair. Whether you were using a chair, maybe you're working from, I don't know, your coffee table or your ottoman or your sofa or your computer desk, right? Not everybody has the same setup, but let's let one hand drop off and reach for the opposite foot. How far is the hand from being able to connect with the toe without your body having to shift, right? Switch sides. So as soon as the hand leaves the chair and goes for the foot, did your hips slide towards that side and the elbow buckle? Like, try to maintain some integrity, even if you're not touching, okay? Switch, because we are going to work into a position that allows us to bend the leg that you're reaching to, and then you'll connect whether you get to your toe or you're able to touch your knee or your shin. I want you to, as you looking at that foot, to try to like go, okay, my ankle isn't collapsing to the floor. I'm evenly loaded on the bottom of my foot. Put your gaze on that knee. We're just holding here for a minute. You're checking in with this knee to make sure that it's not sliding towards the middle. Maybe you take your hand and put your hand on the inside of the knee and give that leg a little bit of prying, pushing it away. And then that arm is just holding that fantastic stretch through the tricep and lat connector. Re-straighten that leg. Go to the other side. All right. So you're going to bend the leg as much as you need to, right? To try to get connected to the leg. And then bring the hand to the knee, give it a little push out. Check on the arch, right? Ankle bone, knee. Feel that stretch all the way through the body line down towards the top of your hip. Come back to center. I want you to walk your feet forward. Get them under you nice and tight, round the spine, chin to chest. Pull yourself up, your little ragdoll roll up, squeezing the buns. Hopefully you're close enough to your object so that when you press your hips forward, you feel your thighs or knees or some part of your leg make a gentle contact. And here is like, well, she's collapsing her back. I am, but my buns are tight because we're taking this into our bowed back position. This is a stretch that I personally love to do from a kneeling position with a wall behind me. And when I bow back, I find the wall and I press into the wall, which allows me to drive and hip thrust forward. The stretch is so fantastic. Pull your belly in, right? Bring your leverage position back to forward roll. Hands to chair. Back, back, back yourself up. Widen the feet. Press the hips back. One hand is reaching for the foot. Bending the leg. Bending, bending, bending. Push the knee out. Switch sides. Slide the hips. Just feel that. Maybe it doesn't feel good for you to take the hand off the chair. Maybe you're like, I actually feel better if I've got both arms pressing. You decide. Don't hold back on the lowering phase of the hip. You sink into that stretch as much as your body will permit. Come back up. Belly to spine. Walk your feet forward. Now you know the drill. Get in nice and close. As soon as you feel like you're close enough, I want you to tuck your chin, pull your abs up. As soon as you can get command of your buns to be part of your equation, they're tightened. You're going to pull up. And if you put yourself too close to your object, as soon as you hip thrust forward, if your object isn't heavy enough, you'll end up, see what I'm doing? I'm actually pushing into my chair and rocking it. That might be okay, right? I'm not going to move my feet, but I'm pushing into it, belly to spine, pull back. Your head is up. Your head is not only up, you're trying to look behind you. Right. Squeeze the buns, reach full expansion. Let the arms widen. They're opening up. Start allowing your head to come back to neutral. The arms are opening up, releasing the shoulders, hands to chair. One more time. Go slowly, back it up. These are kind of extremes for the body, right? You're in full forward fold, right? So you got a lot of what's called flexion happening right now. Reach hand to foot. Can you grab your toe? Maybe it's more than your toe. Maybe you can reach that hand and try to get hold of the ankle. And then you can take your head and you can turn your head and you can look towards the armpit of this push arm. Wow. Releasing the neck, releasing the hand, switching to the other side. Glide the hips wherever you want to connect your hand. Don't overwork for your stretch. It should feel good. And if you feel like you're working too hard, then you need to change your goal of what you're reaching to. So full push of the arm. Grab wherever you're going to anchor, right? Turn the head, tuck the chin. Try to stare at your armpit. Releasing the head, sliding the hips, hand to chair, belly to spine. Walk yourself in. Now this is our third round, right? So if you're like, wow, the flexing back, the extension work of pulling yourself up and going the other way with your spine, if that gives you a pause and it kind of alarms you, then just keep yourself rod straight and reach up and tip your head up and don't put the bowed back position in. But if you're going to commit to it, tighten buns, tighten abs, press the legs forward, right? Everything comes up. You stop yourself before you feel like you're scaring yourself. Okay, that's hugely important. Don't scare yourself and hit the little red alerts. Back out of it. Your body needs to be able to trust you and your decision-making process when it comes to how far you're going to take it. Pull the belly in. Here we go. Relax the arms, the knees away from the chair. You should be experiencing like this little circulatory flush where your body is like alive and you feel yourself. Maybe I'm just hypersensitive to things like that nature, but when we go from forward, full extreme flexion to full extreme extension, like we are like it, as the Chinese medicine, move your chair, would say that you're promoting your chi. Okay, so that is, it has everything to do with our circulation. Grab your book. We're going to walk around our space. Their familiarity. I keep grabbing the same book, and I've gotten used to this book. Next time we do this, I'm going to go for a larger book. So the smaller your book, the easier it will be to balance your work. If you've got a mirror, put yourself in front of the mirror so you can start your book squared up, right? Tucking of the chin. Maybe you initially keep one hand on your book, walk yourself around your space.
I remember the last time I put this in class, we actually were doing some forward walks, some reverse walks, some little swivel turns. And by the time I had completed all of that, my book was still on my head, but it was actually almost a quarter turn rotated. My corners, were off. So I can feel like with my nice clean hair, I can feel already that today is going to present a little more of a challenge for me. Navel to spine, right? You walk as quickly as you want to walk around your space, or you stay still and you just focus on keeping the book on your head. I want us to get ready to incorporate some arm activity. So put yourself wherever you're going to be, even if that has you facing your mirror and you're watching yourself, right? Turn your feet out like you're setting up for your plie squat. You're like, I haven't done a plie squat. Okay, here we go. So the toes are quite angled out. As soon as you do that, you might feel a part of your leg become active where it almost like cramps up, right? So you just keep working at it, belly to spine, tuck the tailbone under, do whatever you need to do to keep like rearranging, make sure that it's on there because we are going to bend the legs. Try to push the knees that way. Push the knees since we can't look down at our toes. The feeling is you want to drive the knees the direction your toes are pointed. So really let them push out. Wow, the stop factor, right? Pull up, squeeze the buns. Can you tuck the tailbone under, zip up through the navel, and now pull your heels from the floor? Keep tucking the tailbone. Bring the heels down. Did the feet separate? Because mine just did. Reset the heel connection. Tuck and you squat. Doesn't have to be deep. Release. As we stand up, pull it up, pull it up. Keep zipping, anchoring the top of the hip bones up like you've got a little snap and you're pulling this piece of fabric up and you're snapping it right at the top of the hip bones. And now up and down and bend the legs. And as you bend the legs, raise the heels. Heels come down, release the arms. Arms go up, start your bend, pull the heels from the floor. Maybe you don't get any further than this, but if you can bend, you set your stop point. Release, one more. Up, heels up, bending of the legs, pressing the knees out. Did your heels immediately push back down into the floor? Down. I don't know. I don't want to stop you. So if you get here, you may end up at the point of no return, which means that you might not be able to get back up without taking your book off and using your hands. But if you will push, 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 squeeze your buns, release and relax. Mobility, flow, and balance does not mean that we're not creating some strenuous aspects to your session, okay? All the classes will always be different, as you guys know. There will be some elements of being really familiar movements to you. And then as your trainer, I want to incorporate some slightly harder things that make your body go, oh, I need to learn a new skill. Why? Because that is part of your neuroplasticity. You have to keep learning new things. With your change, put it down. So I want you to think hamstrings and feet. You're like, okay, I can think hamstrings and feet. You have these beautifully strong, long muscles in the backs of your legs. Hamstrings. I don't know about your balance, only you know. Can you forget about your change for a moment and just go, okay, 1 foot. Can you tip forward and pull yourself back up. And now I'm going to do it again, other leg with the profile. So the movement is you step into your space. You've got to get on that front foot, and we have to lift the back foot. If you cannot lift the back foot and just hold yourself, then you need to put yourself close to your wall, a chair, pull your chair into the equation so that your change in your chair are going to be part of your next function. If you can balance, then the learning part for you is to figure out how far forward you can hinge your body and come out of it controlled. Step back, step in, pause. How far forward can you go and still be in control on the pullback? Some of you can get all the way laid out, right? And have control to pull yourself back up. Getting forward is only half the equation. You need to be able to pull yourself back in control. Okay, so now you're ready. Wipe the slate clean. You've determined I actually need an assist. Say, well, she didn't say the stick, but my chair might be too much, but maybe the stick will allow me to go step in, stick, hinge, 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 hinge. Your change, that's what we're here for. Pick it up, pick one piece up, pull yourself up. How reliant are you on your stick? Step back, switch the stick to the other side because we're doing alternating pattern. Step in, hinge, push yourself forward, mobility, flow, and balance. Now, as you keep going and you're just alternating your assist stick or not, right? You might reach a point where it seems like it's too much work, like the coin is too far away from you because your hamstrings are so tight that it's no longer a balance thing because we're using the stick, right? Now it turns into, I can't get my coin because my hamstring is so tight that I can't get to the floor. If that's you, I want you to bend your leg, right? And then re-straighten it and pull yourself back. So I'm going to do a couple profiles, okay? And I'm going to take my stick out of the equation because I don't think I need it. Step in, hinge, hinge, hinge. I'm like, oh, hamstring's too tight. Bend your leg. Which hand you're going to use? Re-straighten the leg, pull yourself back up. Switch sides. I cannot keep the movement super simple. We need to keep creating enough of a challenge where your body has this sensory that the ankle is a little unstable, the knee is a little unstable. You have to slow yourself down. If you have just blasted through 10 repetitions, I still have 4 pieces of change on the floor. Okay, so if you are done, all I will mention is that the faster you try to retrieve your coin, the easier it is. How is that so? This point where you're in slow motion, that is called time under tension. All right. So here, my left hamstring's tighter than my right. So I'm going to soften my knee. And this other leg, the extended leg, it's as if someone is pulling on that leg like they're playing tug of war, because that gives me leverage. And up. I've got 2 more pieces. Put another couple pieces down if you're done. And I want you to just use your stick or your chair and move slowly. Tension with this high leg. If the leg is soft kneed, your body's going to be all squirrely. If your shoulders are rounded, your pillars of strength cannot be recruited. Tension, tighten all your parts, right? That doesn't mean that you're not going to be heavily reliant on your stick. This is the last one. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and bend my left leg, press the right leg up high, hinge, 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 release and relax. Put your change off to the side. Grabbing your stick. Oh, I don't even know my thoughts. Big sweep. I have a lot of uncompleted projects. So the thing about going out, like for any trip, right? And you know you're going to be gone for a few weeks, especially for me right now that I'm trying to do this, run my classes online and away, and provisioning a boat because we won't have a car. We'll be on a boat and we'll have bicycles. Part of it is to figure out reverse, how much fresh stuff, how much clothes, is there going to be a change in the weather, and as I was trying to have my rest last night, my brain was going through this list of, oh, I need to make sure I get that. Rich's mom is coming with us for the first, 3 or 4 days. And so there's some things that I like to have for her on the boat that are her things. I don't mean like her clothes. I mean, like I know enough about how she eats and what her morning routine is that I want her to be able to have that similar thing, regardless of the fact that we're on the boat. Are you struggling with being able to, this is called a horrible name, shoulder dislocations. What a name, right? So I started you out with this little bent arm getting around your body, thinking that maybe your shoulder needed a little bit of gentle care. If you're not ready for this, then you just stay with your bending, alternating arm and work that stick around you. But if you can be here with me, you got a few more, and I want you to go back into your plie squat. And now that your book isn't on your head, you can look down at your feet to make sure they get turned out nice and good, clean rotation. Where could we be going with this? You might already go, oh no, she's not. I am. Pull it up. So if you're doing your bent arm, stop, bring your stick up, bend your legs. Where do you get to? Because guess what? I'm going to show you. Maybe you're like, I need some support. The prop, your stick is a great prop if you learn how to use it, right? And now heels down. Why would I be incorporating a deep knee bend? Seems cruel and unusual, but it's for a purpose. Ready? We don't want to rely on the stick until we absolutely need it. Squeeze your buns. Pull up. Your butt is actually probably still pushed back. Tuck your tailbone under. Start bending the legs. Did your heels immediately go to the floor? Are you here going, geez, put your stick down anytime you need it. I already showed you how to use your stick. Dun, da, da, da. Oh, that's the sticking point. Push, release, walk around. Now, I'm not trying to prove anything to you by doing those little squats. I'm trying to help you learn how to use an accessory to leverage yourself into a position beyond what your body is able to produce unassisted. Walk around. Think about that, okay? We are only as strong as the range of motion that we move our body through, okay? So most chairs, most sofas, most commodes all have a standard level to them. And sadly, if we don't, we're going to do it one more time. If you don't take yourself This is how our bodies get stiff, right? So remember, mobility is joint work. What joint is being really taxed right now? It's not your ankles, it's your knees. Every person that I've seen that has gone through rehab for their knees, it's not about the knee, the integrity of the joint malfunctioning, unless you've had a knee replacement. That's a whole different thing. But so many people who go in for like knee injuries, they've not pulled a muscle. Their muscles are so tight that the joint has pain. If you're here and you're like, there's no way to get up, roll out of it. Okay. Can you do one more? Restriction is not a good thing to feel. And often with restriction, we have a hard time deciphering, is it red flag, pain, or is it restriction? That's what you're trying to go and process. Do you have to lift your heels off the floor? With your feet this close together, that's the design of this, is to pull the heels up off the floor, okay? And maybe you're here and you're just going, I'm going to hang out here. Maybe you're like racing in your stick, slide down. I already showed you if you get to the point of no return, you can't put your heels back down on the floor or you'll fall backwards, right? You need to go forward, right? Push the knees open if you're here. Keep in mind, you're in whatever position you can be in, right? Maybe you've gone and you've sat yourself in your chair and you're like, I'm going to wait till she finishes that. That's fine. We're going to hang out here for a moment. Dun, 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 dun. Knees, right? The heels are up nice and high. The higher you lift your heels, the more vertical your spine will be able to be. Okay. 5, 4, 3. I'm not going to stand up. I could pop myself up, but I just want to show you, if you get here and now you're really concerned, go fingers down, let your knees roll to the floor. If you're like, no, I want to challenge myself, but I need some leverage, put your stick down. If you're really strong, pull the hips under, squeeze the buns, push down into the toes, explode off the floor. Oh, release and relax. You're done with your stick. It's crazy, right? Some of the things I try to get you to do. You have to know, and you just keep evaluating what your stop points are. And as time goes by, with the right amount of assisting chair, stick, bands. Some of you have worked with me where I've hooked up a big tension band and put it behind your knee, and we've done lunges, we've done squats where the band is supporting the majority of your weight. I've offloaded your work of your legs to give you a pulley system to hold on to teach you how to go depth, because we have to break through these little movements because we've actually gotten weaker over time as everything has a standard height to it, okay? All right, into the next part, which is going to be your balance. Balance of you walking 3 steps, stopping. I gave this one in my Indian Rock speech class on Tuesday morning, which was good fun. Most everybody's nailing the heel to toe stance and the stopping and the tucking of the buns. And then what we added in was turning the head. The faster you turn your head, the harder it is to actually stay locked in. And now bring your attention back into your glutes, especially the glute on the trailing side, because your whole body should be pulling back, the hips tucked. Okay, so this might not come off on camera very good for me today. I may be shooting myself in the foot, but in my class, what we did is we turned our head, right? Balance, stabilize yourself, zip and tuck, pull back, shoulders back, the chin is tucked. Now, can you close your eyes? Oh, Lord. Open them. Wow. Turn your head the other way. I don't want you to have your eyes closed. I would love to be able to do a 5 count, but I'm afraid I can't even do that for myself right now, right? So your head is turned. Squeeze your buns, shoulders down, close your eyes, open your eyes. Wow. Switch. You're going to do your 3 steps. I'm going to end up getting closer. 1, 3 steps just put you into the other lead leg. Zip and tuck your parts. There is something funny that I find that I do. I put my hands on my shoulders, kind of reminding myself to drag the shoulders down, or maybe I have my hands on my belly to remind myself to zip through the hip line and pull up. Whatever tactile you're using for yourself, maybe your arms are out. I don't know what you need. If you cannot get your feet in a heel to toe stance and be balanced, then you just offset that front foot just a little bit until you feel like, okay, I've got some control now. Okay. Because if you can't balance here, then you're not going to be able to balance when we turn our head, and you're sure not going to be able to balance when we close our eyes. Zip and tuck. I want to fill you in on a little something. I mentioned the term time under tension. So there is a lot of dialogue. I explain a lot while we're actually doing something, because you're doing something. You're squeezing, though it looks like you're just standing still, for you to stay task driven, tight parts, and listen for the next set of instructions. You're not just hanging out, you're working. So it never matters to me how long it takes for me to get instructions out. For that very reason, I know that you're not wasting time. Ready? Turn your head, squeeze your buns, belly to spine, shoulders back. Where are your hands? Right? Real tight, trailing butt cheek. Close your eyes. Open your eyes. Turn your head. Sometimes when you close your eyes, as soon as your eyes close, the wheels fall off the bus. If that's you, move that front foot a little bit wider. It will help. Turn your head, zip and tuck. Get ready. I don't know if you're closing your eyes or not. Maybe you're not. Open your eyes. Sometimes, and release and relax. You're done with that. Walk around your space. We're getting into the next step. Our step over. You have your imaginary whatever. You know, for me, whether it's the stretch out strap or the stick, I have these lines on the floor, but not everybody has little lines and plus signs, right? So from a visual standpoint, if it helps you to lay your stretch out strap or your elastic band on the floor, that will give you something very precise that your feet are trying to move over. This is nothing new, okay? When you step back, the reverse step is going to be harder than your forward driver. Your body is used to moving forward all day long. It might not be used to coming into a balanced hold position, but the reverse step is the one that's going to be the greater challenge, right? So it's important that your entire body move in front of your band and all of it comes back. Instead of having the band or whatever you're using as your visual be kind of down the middle of the body, this looks like I'm doing exactly what I was doing, but I'm not. I'm rocking. And I want you to take clean steps over like you're getting ready to take the next step. Okay. Clean step, push back. And if you think you're doing it right and it's easy, there's always progressive movement. If this is too gentle for you, then you soften your knees. It's like you're a spring. Drive back, right? Here we go. Push, kind of looking down. I'm going to stay in spring mode just to show you. It's like a slight plyometric and push. The body has to react to that explosive action. And that's what kind of sends this chain reaction of, oh, how do I stop myself? Do one more. Push. Release other side. Start slow. Step, clear it. Step, brace. Step, tuck, step, brace. Right? I'm going to keep falling out of the movement to show you something, because this is so common. If you find that you're not holding the movement long enough, you're still doing the movement, but you're not actually able to take all of the wiggles out, but yet you're still doing it, you haven't yet gained control. So if every step you fall out of the movement, you have to go slower. Okay, and we already discussed slower motion isn't wasted time and so scaled back. It's actually hard to slow yourself down, right? And then go, I'm in charge. And then see, do you fall out of the movement? Why are you falling out of the movement? And if that's not you at all, then I want you into your spring, because you're ready for the next level. The higher your foot gets off the floor, right? That's recoverable. I'm recovering. The higher the foot gets off the floor, the more velocity it's generating this energy through you. And that's what makes it really hard to then nail the landing. So if you stay with the feet barely lifting from the floor, you're going to have an entirely different experience than this. And 5, 4, maybe you don't jump because the knees can't take it. You have to know that about yourself. One more. Push, cut. Woo, done with that. Grab a little drink. You guys have me like huffing and puffing a little bit. I'm going to be gone long enough so that I have something that has to come in the mail today, or I'm going to be missing this quarterly tax that I pay. So, and it only dawned on me last night, like I woke up going, I haven't paid my quarterly taxes yet, and they're going to be due by the 30th. And I'm gonna have to call my accountant. I have to go to my, my little post office box. We're coming down to the floor. So my accountant calls me, and he never knows where I'm going to be. So he reaches out to me. Thank goodness I have somebody who doesn't wait for me to go, oh, it's time for me to fill out that form. He's so good to me that he's always ahead of the game. And I realized that I hadn't been to my mailbox for a while, sidelining. So it might be that it's already at the mailbox waiting for me. And all I have to do is put my little check in the envelope. I mean, I think I could probably do it online, but it's this kind of thing that kept me up, made me go, oh, that needs to go on my list. Check, check, so that I don't end up like having to scramble next week doing something. You're on your back. Hopefully it feels good to lay down. Knees to chest. Let each hand take its knee and just gently rock from side to side. I've taken to putting my towel down and use it as my little head prop
more often than not. So if you find that as you're just rocking gently from side to side and your gaze is floating back and you're kind of looking behind you, I want you to reset your neck, chin towards chest. You're kind of looking at what's happening in front of you versus staring directly up at the ceiling. And now when you come to the middle, feet down, do a little hip lift just to make sure everything is in line. Straighten one leg, pull the other leg in. I'm going to have you slide your hands behind the thigh initially and just give it a nice pull. Let the extended leg, knee, let the knee just do whatever it wants to do right now. You don't have to force the back of the knee to the floor, okay? So all you're going to do is you're going to take your hands and you're going to pull this thigh. It's a little rock. You're pulling the thigh right up into your body. It won't go any further. The pelvis kind of rocks. The extended leg, moves and no longer is connected fully to the floor. Where did your gaze go? Make sure your chin is holding that position for your cervical spine, right? The elbows are drawn in towards your ribs so the shoulders aren't taking extra work. 3, 2. Now hold the knee in. Take your leg that's on the floor, push it nice and flat. See if you can rock the ankle on that down leg to fully flexed foot. With that leg fully flexed, is your heel off the floor? Huh. If you're like, well, no, my heel is touching the floor, my calf isn't touching the floor. Make your calf touch the floor and straighten your leg so much that the heel doesn't touch the floor. If that is an impossibility, I've got a lot more to say about that, but we're going to switch legs. So bring it up. You might be wondering what could possibly be going on there. Switch legs, hands behind the thigh, other leg is extended. You're just hanging out for a moment. Take this bent close leg, pull it in, let the pelvis rock. You don't have to be particular about anything other than where are you looking? Look forward. Here we go. Pull, pull. It should feel like oddly spastic, right? Like, what are we doing? Get ready. Hold the leg to you. Press the other leg long as if someone's taking your heel and sliding it along the floor. The foot flexes, the calf makes good contact with the floor, but the heel no longer touches the floor. Just hold it. Your leg is so tight, that quadricep is fired up and it's making that leg lengthen so that the hamstring gets a stretch and the heel is not resting on the floor. And now relax the legs, feet down, roll to your side, sit up for a moment. We're going to have a little talk. We did this test. Maybe it wasn't last week, maybe it was week before, and we're going to do it again from a seated position, okay? When I'm going to start with the leg closest to the screen so you can see it, okay? So you're comfortable, your back doesn't have to be totally upright, but you're find a way to leverage yourself. Maybe you're here versus here, okay? You're going to look at your straight leg. This is a test. The test is with this leg fully extended, your heel should no longer rest on the floor. With the leg fully extended, not activated quad, it's fully on the floor. But when you activate your quadricep and you flex your foot, your heel, it might be so like small to see. You might not even be able to see that my heel is touching. And then when I flex my quad, my heel no longer touches the floor. This is a test. The test determines
relax. At rest, there shouldn't be any strain on the knee. If you flex your quad and you can't get your heel off the floor, relax. Then at rest, your quad is overworking. And this would explain why you might have constant knee pain. Other side. If all of that is just kind of blowing by you and you don't understand what I'm saying, you hear my words, but you don't actually understand how it's applicable to you, there are a lot of people that I am now seeing and working with, right? That one of the common complaints, so we're already doing it. The great thing about the test of you flexing your quad and popping the heel off the floor without you trying to lift the leg. You are not trying to lift the leg and go, well, I can get my heel off the floor. No, you keep your leg lengthened. The only thing is you're looking at this front thigh, and when you activate the muscle, you actually see the muscle constrict, and then the residual, the next effect is the muscle restricts and the heel lifts off the floor, and then the test is done and release. So if you're like, I can't believe this, I actually can't get my heel off the floor, two things are happening. Okay. Even every step you take when you're on your feet, you are stressing your knee beyond what it's supposed to be. And that means we have to start the traction stretches that I've been talking to you about. Okay. Sit, side sit. So I keep running. I'm going to keep running the little tests just to help to reinforce, right, what I'm talking about. And you've I don't know if you passed. It's not a fail. It's just another piece of your equation, right? So we're going to gently stretch the QL. Push the hand into the floor. Shoulder comes out of the ear. Your body gets nice and long. And now, in the lengthening phase of your trunk, it wouldn't be uncommon to now be in excessive S. So what are we going to do? We're going to gently, ever so gently, try to do a smidgen of your pelvic tilt. That's to protect you. And as soon as you go into that pelvic tilt, you should feel like your stretch deepens on the down hip side. And now push the hand firmly into the floor, push the other hand firmly into the knee. Your body is lengthened. You're in a smidgen of your pelvic tilt, and you're identifying, do I feel anything? And if you do, and it's significant, then stay here. If you want to feel more, you're going to take this hand like you're threading the needle between the hand and the hip, and you're not going to get far. Really, it just is this little bit of rotation. The goal is to keep this push arm as a real solid push arm while you're trying to gently rotate your trunk, and that stretch line should just increase across the hip and slightly up. And relax. All right, other side. Putting yourself through some gentle tests along the way, not every session, but it kind of gives you a point of reference for, you know, identifying why we have pain in certain parts of our body, why no matter what you do, there's a whole different type of achiness. Pain is like when you when I think about pain, what immediately came to my mind, and so inappropriate, is 50 Shades of Gray. Okay. So when we think about pain, it's so hard to identify and classify, knee pain, hip pain, chronic pain, acute pain, chronic pain based on high level inflammation. Okay. Pain based on just doing something too much of something that renders pain. Even good somethings can put you in the wrong kind of pain. So, pain is a very vague term for so many different categories of pain. And so 50 shades of pain, okay? Push the hand into the floor, press the hand into the knee, do a little bit of your zipping just to protect your body through the back. And now you decide we don't want pain. We want stretch line. This stretch line on this right side is pretty significant, but not so much so that I don't want to go a little bit further. And as soon as my arm controls this rotating trunk, the stretch just radiates a little bit deeper. Pull the belly in, keep protecting yourself. The nuance of you being able to just pause and pelvic tilt, when you slow down, you'll feel all of this extra stuff. That's what I want you to feel. That's really the essence of why we're even sitting here. Release and relax. In all of my years, crisscross legs. So your crisscross leg position, even if your knees are here, would have you go, oh, that's right. Okay. I need to prop my hips up. And Marlene, specifically for you, maybe this will take a few extra seconds and be uncomfortable, but I'll do it with you, okay? I'm going to grab my jumbo couch cushion, not my little small pillow. So I'm actually going to pull the cushion off my sofa just to help Marlene get into this too. And Chris, this might be beneficial for you as well. So you guys know that I am a huge believer. It's ridiculous, right? Look how big this thing is. It's less about how tall it is and more about how thick it is, okay? But I just want to be with you and remind you that as it takes a few extra seconds to set up, it might be the game changer for you. Come down. Ah. When your hips are restricted, maybe it's the combo, all of the muscles around the lateral band from the ankle all the way up, a little bit of IT band, some of your peroneal muscles are tight. It doesn't have to just be that your hips are tight, right? So when you build yourself up, it is freedom for some of these movements. This feels so good. Like this might not even be enough buildup for you. I don't know. Without being in front of you, I just don't know. But I hope I know what I do know is that even if your knees are still up, they're not up as high as they were when you were seated on the floor. So now my pillow's nice and long, so I can actually go side to side, elbow to the pillow. And if your pillow is a little bit shorter, right, then you put your hand on the floor and you bend the arm to let yourself go side to side. In your most ideal position, your elbow supports you and your elbow is close enough to the hip line. Everything's about alignment, right? The alignment of having your shoulder and elbow aligned. So if your elbow is way out here, though it's touching the floor, it's not under the shoulder and it will maybe put too much pressure on the joint. So keep the arm kind of tucked in and reach with the other arm. And now do one more and then we're going to switch the legs around. This is what we're finishing with. So just try to let your body relax here, embrace the sensation. Here we go. Side to side. This I love this side to side bend because it's a great follow up to the QL stretch by you adding your arm, even if it's your broken wing, right, arm that you're pushing the elbow up. If you can get that, don't feel like you have to work with the full length of the arm. That might be too much, but maybe you get a little more out of your body by raising the elbow. This is a great follow up to that side sit QL stretch we just did. This is taking you and it's lengthening you a little bit. Do one more. Now, I lied. This next one is really the last one, okay? Twist towards one knee. You want to try to commit the midline of your body towards that thigh. That might be the challenge, okay? And then start leaning forward. The higher your hips are, the more you're actually going to need to brace so that we don't want to take the stretch too deep. So you're rotated, you're leaning towards one leg, you're then leaning forward, you're figuring out how much pushback do you need to give to your arms. The stretch should already be happening as your body starts coming towards the leg a little bit tighter. Your pull through the back of that hip, it's so isolated, okay? You just keep figuring out how deep can you go where you're not straining and you're not in the red zone. Nose to knee, maybe? If your hips are on the floor, then you have a whole different leverage thing happening. If you're seated on the floor and you're not bolstered, I want you to take the opposite arm to that knee that you're bending to. That arm is going to bear hug the knee and you're going to be able to pull yourself a little bit deeper. Now, I can do that here with my elevated hips, but this other hand is working really hard to keep me from kind of sliding off my pillow. So you go as deep as you feel comfortable. This is one of my favorite stretches. Push yourself up, come through it, get all the way up. Whew. We might as well switch the ankles again. Right? Okay. Maybe you can't cross your ankles. Maybe you have already thought of a plan B for yourself, which has the bottoms of your feet together. The stretch will be slightly different, but this is still super effective, right? So I'll do the second one this way. If you're having pain through the sides of your ankles or your knees, release yourself a little bit and do it this way. Twist towards that leg, figure out how to brace with your arm. Your body's leaning into it. You don't even have to be flat in spine. Just get your trunk closer to the knee, figure out your bracing. I'm going to go ahead and grab hold of that knee. By you grabbing the knee, you see it takes your spine and it rotates you a little bit deeper towards that leg, and that arm with it kind of reaching and hugging the knee, it is getting under your lat. So we're creating tension, right? Opposing tension lines. I will say that it's a little bit harder to do this one with the bottoms of your feet together, but still it is doable and intense. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm going to leave you with one last thought as you come up out of that. It wouldn't be uncommon to like get yourself in a forward position and have your abdominal wall just totally cramp up on you. If that ever happens to you, doing anything, if you ever get this thing where it feels like your whole abdominal muscle is in a Charlie horse, the best thing that you can do would be to put yourself in cobra. That will stretch out all of that. So I say that to you because it's happened to me before. Shake it out. And I've had it happen to clients where I'm working with them, and it kind of scares you because it's so intense, and most people don't know what to do with that. But if you ever get this abdominal contraction, because it won't be down here. It'll feel like your ribs and everything under your ribs is just like seizing up on you. Lay down and push yourself away from the floor. And there's no telling when that piece of information might come in handy. Hopefully it will never be in one of my classes. But if you manage to do that to yourself, you'll know how to fix it. So class, I hope you have a great day. And I'll send out the schedule, and I'm going to try to keep everything. I can't even say that I'm going to try to, my intention would be as I sign off, and I'll tell you when I'm off.